Have you ever felt like the world is moving too fast? That no matter how hard you try, you just can't keep up? If so, you're not alone. In our hyper-connected, always-on world, feelings of overwhelm, sadness, and anxiety have become increasingly common. That knot in your stomach when checking emails, the heaviness in your chest scrolling through social media, the racing thoughts that keep you awake at night, these experiences have become part of everyday life for millions of people. Today, we're going to explore one of the most significant health challenges of our time, the rising rates of depression and anxiety across the globe. This isn't just about feeling sad or nervous occasionally. We're talking about clinical conditions that affect how people function, how they see themselves, and how they experience the world around them. The numbers are staggering. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 280 million people worldwide experience depression. Anxiety disorders affect even more people, around 301 million individuals, or 4% of the global population. What's truly alarming isn't just how many people are affected, it's how quickly these numbers are growing. In this video, we'll explore why depression and anxiety have become so prevalent, what factors in our modern world might be contributing to this rise, and most importantly, what we can do about it. Let's start by understanding just how widespread this problem has become. In the United States alone, 21 million adults, that's 8.3% of the entire adult population, experienced at least one major depressive episode. For anxiety disorders, the numbers are even higher, with approximately 19.1% of adults reporting an anxiety disorder in the past year. What's particularly concerning is how these conditions are affecting young people. Among adolescents aged 12 to 17, about 20% experienced at least one major depressive episode. That's 1 in 5 teenagers. Young adults between 18 and 25 have the highest rates of all, with depression affecting 18.6% of this age group. And these numbers aren't static, they're increasing. From 2015 to 2020, depression rates rose from 12.7% to 16.9% among adolescents, and from 10.3% to 17.2% among young adults. If you're a young person watching this and feeling like everyone around you seems to be struggling, the statistics back up your observation. To understand why depression and anxiety are on the rise, we need to look at how dramatically our society has transformed over the past several decades. A changing world. Imagine life 50 or 100 years ago. Work typically followed a predictable 9-to-5 schedule. When you left the office or factory, you were truly disconnected from your job until the next day. Most people worked with their hands or directly with other people, rather than staring at screens all day. Social connections were primarily built face-to-face within your local community. People were more likely to join clubs, attend religious services, or participate in community events. Your social circle might have been smaller, but interactions were often deeper and more meaningful. Family structures looked different too. People typically married younger and started families earlier. Extended family often lived nearby or even in the same household. While these arrangements had their own challenges and limitations, they provided built-in support systems and a sense of belonging. Fast forward to today. Work follows us everywhere through our devices. The boundaries between professional and personal life have blurred. Many of us spend our days dealing with abstract information rather than tangible objects or direct human contact. Our social lives have fundamentally transformed too. We can instantly connect with people across the globe, yet many of us barely know our next-door neighbors. Communities are more fragmented, and traditional gathering places have declined in importance. These changes aren't inherently good or bad. They've brought incredible opportunities and freedoms that previous generations couldn't imagine. But they've also created new challenges for our psychological well-being. To understand the rise in depression and anxiety, we need to look at how these societal shifts have affected the fundamental human needs that keep us mentally healthy. The technology paradox. Let's start with perhaps the most transformative change in our daily lives: technology, particularly social media. The average American now spends over 7 hours per day interacting with screens, with more than 2 hours of that time on social media platforms. Technology promised to connect us, and in many ways it has. We can maintain relationships across vast distances, find communities based on shared interests rather than just geography, and access information and opportunities that would have been unimaginable to previous generations. Yet research consistently shows a troubling connection between heavy social media use and poorer mental health. Studies have found correlations between the amount of time young people spend on social media and the prevalence of depressive symptoms. Interventions that limit social media use have demonstrated reductions in anxiety, depression, loneliness, and the fear of missing out. Why would tools designed to connect us potentially make us feel worse? One reason is social comparison. We're constantly exposed to carefully curated highlights of others' lives, which can make our own ordinary experiences seem inadequate by comparison. The human tendency to compare ourselves to others has always existed, but social media amplifies this natural inclination to unprecedented levels. The design of these platforms also creates an addictive cycle of seeking validation through likes, comments, and shares. This can drain time from sleep, physical activity, and face-to-face interactions, all vital components of good mental health. And then there's cyberbullying and online harassment, which affect countless people, especially young users. The anonymous nature of many online interactions can bring out crueler behavior than most people would display in person. The technology paradox is that tools designed to connect us can sometimes leave us feeling more isolated than ever. But technology is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Economic pressures. Economic factors play a huge role in our mental well-being. Financial insecurity creates chronic stress that directly impacts mental health, with research showing that individuals in lower income brackets are up to 3 times more likely to experience depression and anxiety. Over recent decades, economic inequality has widened significantly. Housing costs have skyrocketed in many areas. College graduates often start their adult lives burdened with substantial student loan debt. Many jobs that once provided stability have become more precarious with the rise of the gig economy and contract work. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted and accelerated these economic pressures. Millions lost jobs, faced reduced hours, or had to close businesses. While the economic recovery has been strong in some ways, the psychological impact of that financial uncertainty continues to reverberate. When you're constantly worried about making rent, paying for healthcare, or having enough saved for emergencies, it creates a background level of stress that never fully goes away. This chronic stress affects sleep, physical health, relationships, and can eventually contribute to anxiety and depression. Economic insecurity also undermines our sense of control over our lives and our ability to plan for the future, both crucial components of psychological well-being. For many young adults today, milestones that previous generations took for granted, like homeownership or financial independence, feel increasingly out of reach. Social disconnection. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. We evolved to live in close-knit groups where we depended on each other for survival. Yet modern life has disrupted many of our traditional sources of community and connection. Participation in religious organizations, community clubs, and neighborhood associations has declined significantly over recent decades. More people live alone than ever before, and many work remotely or in jobs that provide limited, meaningful human interaction. The result is a paradox of modern life. We're more connected than ever digitally, yet many people report feeling profoundly alone. A 2021 Harvard study found that 36% of Americans reported serious loneliness, including 61% of young adults. Loneliness isn't just an unpleasant feeling, it's a serious health risk. Research suggests that chronic loneliness can be as harmful to physical health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's also strongly associated with depression and anxiety. When we lack strong social connections, we lose the emotional buffering that helps us weather life's challenges. Problems that might seem manageable with a strong support system can become overwhelming when faced alone. The awareness factor. There's another important factor to consider when looking at rising rates of depression and anxiety: increased awareness and more accurate diagnosis. Mental health conditions were heavily stigmatized for much of history. People suffering from depression or anxiety often suffered in silence, their symptoms misunderstood or dismissed. Diagnostic criteria were less developed, and access to mental health care was limited. Today, there's greater public awareness about mental health. Celebrities and public figures share their own struggles. Social media, for all its potential downsides, has created spaces where people can discuss mental health more openly. This increased awareness means more people recognize their symptoms and seek help. Diagnostic criteria have also evolved, allowing healthcare providers to better identify these conditions. This doesn't mean the rise in depression and anxiety is merely a matter of better recognition. The evidence strongly suggests a real increase in these conditions, particularly among young people. But the shifting landscape of awareness and diagnosis likely plays some role in the higher reporting rates we observe today. In many ways, this increased awareness represents progress. People suffering from depression and anxiety are more likely to receive the help they need rather than suffering in silence. The stigma, while still present, has diminished considerably. COVID-19. No discussion of rising mental health challenges would be complete without acknowledging the profound impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. This global crisis created a perfect storm of risk factors: social isolation, fear of illness, economic uncertainty, disrupted routines, and collective grief. The numbers tell the story. The World Health Organization reported a 25% global increase in anxiety and depression in the first year of the pandemic alone. Young people and women were particularly affected, but the pandemic is just one of many global events that have shaped our collective mental health. Economic recessions, climate change, political polarization, and ongoing conflicts all contribute to a general sense of uncertainty and anxiety about the future. These major events don't just affect those directly involved, they create a backdrop of stress and uncertainty that can impact mental health broadly across society. Constant exposure to negative news and traumatic events through media can heighten anxiety and feelings of helplessness. The path forward. The rising rates of depression and anxiety present a serious challenge, but there's reason for hope. Understanding the factors behind this trend is the first step toward addressing it, both as individuals and as a society. On an individual level, we can be more intentional about how we use technology. Setting boundaries around screen time, being selective about social media use, and prioritizing in-person connections can all make a difference. Physical activity, adequate sleep, time in nature, and mindfulness practices have all been shown to help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. Even small changes in daily habits can have meaningful impacts on mental well-being over time. Perhaps most importantly, if you're struggling, reach out. Connection is powerful medicine for mental health challenges. This might mean deepening relationships with friends and family, joining community groups, or seeking professional help. On a broader level, we need systems and policies that better support mental health. This includes increased access to mental health care, workplace policies that respect work-life boundaries, economic measures that reduce financial insecurity, and community initiatives that foster meaningful connection. Depression and anxiety are complex conditions influenced by a wide range of factors, from our individual biology to the rapidly changing world around us. While modern life has brought incredible advances, it's also created new challenges for our mental well-being. The rising rates of these conditions aren't a reflection of personal failings, but rather a signal that aspects of our society may not be aligned with our fundamental psychological needs. By understanding these trends, we can work toward creating a world that better supports mental health. If you're one of the millions of people affected by depression or anxiety, remember, you're not alone, your feelings are valid, and help is available. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is acknowledge when we're struggling and reach out for support. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of one of the most important health challenges of our time. By bringing these issues into the light, we take the first step toward creating a healthier future for all of us. If you found this valuable, please like and subscribe for more content that challenges conventional wisdom. And hit that notification bell to join the conversation early. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.